It's devlog day. It's devlog day. When I first started this project, I'd get a bit worried whenever I created a global variable or function got too big and difficult to read. But I've spent enough time working on this code that it feels like home. I've also realized that it's impossible to keep code this large completely clean. Now I code like I prototype. Need a variable, slap it in, move on. It's worked for me so far. I'm just hoping this game is small enough that I don't have to rework anything big. Anyway, on to the video. My previous devlog was a bit all over the place. My dad's playing classical music, I don't know if you can hear it, each other out. This guy gets eaten by that guy, who gets eaten by this guy, who can only be stopped by this guy, who's weak again. So this time I'm gonna be very, very organized. After developing this cutting-edge NPC dialogue system, I got right to work on the next scene, the train station. As you can see, I drew out this beautiful staircase, ignore the yellow lines, they're for debugging purposes, and I'm testing having the player walk up and down it. The problem is, at this point I've been trying to fix the bug for at least a couple hours now. It's me. I'm the dumbass. I didn't realize that I had written slice when I actually meant spliced. So the player can finally walk up the stairs without any problems. Awesome. But yeah, you see the problem. The nice thing about coding games is that there's always a solution to a problem. Turns out the way I'd coded it, the player would walk down twice every time it passed the trigger from the left side. I don't really know why it ended up that way, but removing one walk down function removed it pretty simply. It was a relief because the whole time I'd been wondering if I had to develop another system that wasn't based on these yellow triggers. You know, something like... Yeah, I couldn't really envision a better way, so I'm glad it worked out. I bought Aseprite. I get the hype now. It might be because I've been using GIMP on a slow laptop, and Aseprite is much faster in comparison, but the UI makes it such a joy to use. I'm not trying to sound like an Aseprite ad, but it's pretty good. My pixel art, on the other hand, I'm gonna say it's charmingly minimal. I had the genius idea to not do dialogue in text, but emojis. Hear me out. A lot of my friends and family don't speak English, so I was originally going to translate everything, but I thought about this time I had a ton of fun just chatting with my friend using emojis, and thought I'd like to put that in a game. I'm also thinking of this video by Jan Misali, which talks about the ways games use language learning as a mechanic. I don't plan on having the dialogue be complex or too important to the story, because if I did, I wouldn't have made a decision like this. If I was trying to convey important information through emojis, well, I was gonna say there isn't a worse way to do it, but I guess there are if you really think about it. Now you might be wondering how my awesome scene system works. I'm pretty proud of it, okay? So, insert clip here of me explaining it. When I found that the stairs weren't working in this other scene, I almost considered getting rid of the stairs altogether. But I took another look at my code and found this variable fromTrigger that was originally used to stop triggers from looping infinitely. And I had this idea of using it to just force the player to move when a trigger commands it, whether or not the move is valid. And it was as simple as that. First of all, I want to tell you about the pointer events property in CSS. I didn't know this existed, right? But it's a godsend. If you need anything to be visible on top, but also stop your cursor from interacting with it. Wait, could I have just changed the Z index? Is that how that works? I'll get back to you on that. But on to the meat of this intermission. My weekends are busy, so I had a couple days away from the game. That got me thinking about the direction I want to take this game. Long story short, I realized I had to be much more specific with the direction I'm taking it. I decided to scrap my original schedule, which was gonna be me drawing and coding the map, and put the gameplay first. Okay, so let's make the game. I made this testing room and set up what I had so far, and then immediately got to work on the game mechanics. Except I didn't. I didn't really know what I had to implement first. I jumped headfirst into developing this game with a strong thematic idea, but not a very well-developed mechanical idea. My original plan was vague, something like this. It would be a problem-solving game where you had to create specific patterns of cells by using your given tools. I got to work on fleshing out that idea, because it was pretty much the only idea I had, and I think I sort of figured things out. I figured out the tools I need to give the player, the UI I need to design, and the systems I need to program. So originally there would be 3 parts to this game, right? The train station, which introduced you to the atmosphere, theme, and controls of the game. The town, where you would visit shops, talk to NPCs, etc. And the institute, where you would spend most of your time looking at old research papers and doing your own experiments. Basically the game aspect of the game. But because I wanted a small and dense map, I decided to merge the town and institute, which I think makes the world so much more interesting.